Uh-oh.
Up in her last two fights. Good way hitting him from that way down.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. It has been officially announced that Jaime Munguia will be taking on Eric Bazinyan, which has been confirmed for September 20th via ESPN and Top Rank. This fight has gotten a lot of attention, though not because of the fight itself, not because of the opponent, but because of where it's happening. Jaime Munguia returns from the first defeat of his career when he fights Eric Bazinyan at the Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale, Arizona on September 20th. Munguia lost for the first time back in May when at Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena he fought his fellow Mexican Saul Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed super middleweight crown. Upon the expiration of his co-promotional agreement with Golden Boy Promotions, he then unexpectedly signed with Top Rank, and having enhanced his reputation by proving so entertaining an opponent for Alvarez, the 27-year-old will make a swift return to the ring.
That last part is the important part.
That his co-promotional agreement with Golden Boy has expired, and on that premise, he's going to be fighting under the Top Rank banner. What's interesting is just 1 or 2 days ago, Oscar denied that Jaime has left Golden Boy.
What's up, guys? Clapback Thursdays. Lots of rumors that Jaime Munguia is going to Top Rank. Wrong. He's still with Golden Boy, but just fighting on ESPN for his next fight. Just a different network.
The fight with the undefeated Bazinyan, 29, will also be Munguia's first since reuniting with Eric Morales after being trained by Freddie Roach. I can't wait to return to Arizona against the undefeated and motivated Eric Bazinyan, and for the fight to be shown on the world's biggest network, Munguia said. I fight for the fans and look forward to giving them a great show, said Bazinyan. Was born in Armenia but fights out of Canada. It's the perfect timing to shock the world. I've worked my entire career for this moment, and I know I've got everything it takes to beat Jaime Munguia.
Questions that need answers.
Entertaining what Oscar De La Hoya said, that this is only a one-and-done situation. It's just a one-off. That Jaime is only fighting on ESPN for this one fight, then I guess he goes back to Golden Boy. If that were the situation, if that is the case, why are they doing this? Eric Bazinyan is not so big a name that Jaime Munguia should have to cross the street to fight him. No, out of those two, Jaime is the big name. He's the A-side fighter. Even if he's coming off a loss, why would he have to cross platforms to fight Eric Bazinyan?
That doesn't make sense.
I mean, you could have did a fight like this at Golden Boy Promotions. I mean, if it were just about getting Jaime a rebound fight before the year is out,
right?
Golden Boy could have done that.
So if it's the way that Oscar says it is, and this is just a one and done, why do it at all? What's the point?
That's if it's the way that Oscar says it is. If it's the way the reports initially indicated, and Jaime will be fighting under the Top Rank banner moving forward, why would that be the case? Well, Jaime's lead promoter is actually Zanfer Promotions, not Golden Boy. He is more of a Zanfer Promotions fighter than a Golden Boy fighter, and we all know that Zanfer has done and still does a lot of business with Top Rank.
Thus, Jaime signing to Top Rank under the guidance of Zanfer Promotions is entirely believable. It's just Oscar De La Hoya that's denying it.
He's the one pushing back. But then why is your fighter that you say is still with you, why is he doing a one and done for some nobody that nobody knows?
I ain't got nothing against Eric Bazinyan, but I think most boxing fans, even ones that follow the sport closely, they don't know this guy. Whoever this guy is, you're crossing platforms to fight him. Why?
This is not a big money fight, certainly not a title fight. No, it's not for a title or anything like that. So why is Jaime, who's a more well-known fighter than Eric, why is he going over there to fight him? What is the point?
The only way you can reconcile it is that maybe Jaime has signed to Top Rank. The kicker is that Top Rank never officially announced Jaime's signing to their promotion. Like they did with Junto Nakatani 3 or 4 days ago. They announced that signing, but they didn't officially announce this one. Now, I don't know if they're going to by the time that this video is uploaded.
Questions that need answers.
Why is the Golden Boy Promotions' insignia absent from the fight poster if Jaime is still a Golden Boy Promotions fighter? One would think that it would still be there. In most situations like the one that Oscar's describing, it would be in there somewhere because this is still supposed to be your fighter.
If it were the way that Oscar says it is, another question that needs an answer is, what is this costing Top Rank?
To bring this guy over for a one and done, if what Oscar says is true, and that's what this is, well, what is it costing them to bring him over for a one and done?
So soon after the Canelo Alvarez fight, where Jaime has likely made a career high purse, the biggest of his entire career across 3 weight classes, what's this costing them, and why would they pay it out for a fighter they're not really invested in, they're not really promoting?
If it's the way that Oscar says it is, and he's still with Golden Boy, he didn't sign to Top Rank, then why would Top Rank bother to pay this guy whatever they're paying him when he's just gonna go back to Oscar?
Then why fritter away the dollars? Why waste that money?
What, to get Eric Bazinyan an opportunity?
Even with the official announcement of Munguia versus Bazinyan, there is still questions that need answers that have not been answered at this time, and we'll see if those answers come as the fight date approaches. Look for this, September 20th.
On ESPN.
In men's heavyweight news ahead of this weekend's mega card, unforgiving Jarrell Miller is ready to make Andy Ruiz pay. On the heels of his first professional loss at the hands of Daniel Dubois, Jarrell Miller looks to rebound against the former unified champion. Can he do it? Miller is on a revenge mission. After watching Andy Ruiz reap the rewards of the most damaging moment of his career, it was in June of 2019 when Miller tested positive for the banned substance GW50-1516 and was denied by the New York State Athletic Commission a license to fight. He had been scheduled to challenge Anthony Joshua, then IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight champion, in a career-defining occasion at Madison Square Garden. Ruiz, on relatively late notice, replaced him and caused one of the biggest upsets in the history of the heavyweight division when he stopped the previously undefeated Joshua in 7 rounds.
It's important to note that the GW50-1516 was not the only banned substance Jarrell tested positive for. He tested positive for 3 banned substances, and that wasn't even the only time he tested positive for banned substances.
He tested positive for more banned substances after that, ahead of what was supposed to be his top-ranked debut. Now he's facing Andy Ruiz. The 34-year-old Andy Ruiz lost his titles to Anthony Joshua in their rematch later on that same year, but victory transformed his career and life. Miller, 36, has remained on the outside looking in and will know that any fading hopes he has of challenging for a world title are dependent on him defeating Ruiz this Saturday in LA at the BMO Stadium. This fight is not personal, Miller stated, before proceeding to say, Andy replaced me a couple of years ago and got that big check, and now I have to fuck him up. I'm going to turn his ass into burritos and nachos after this one. I feel great. I haven't been eating like my man Andy here. I put down the tacos,
The burritos, the burgers, and hard work, baby.
Do you trust him?
Is Ozempic on the banned list? Is Ozempic on WADA and VADA's banned list? Because if it is, I wouldn't be at all surprised to hear that that's how Jarrell Miller lost all that weight ahead of this fight. You will notice that Jarrell is noticeably slimmer. Noticeably slimmer from when last we saw him, and that really wasn't that long ago, the Daniel Dubois fight, and Ozempic being the new wonder drug that all the celebs are using to lose weight fast. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Jarrell Miller's been using. I don't put it past him. I come to win. I come to knock people out. I come to destroy people. He may be the quote-unquote destroyer, but I'm the one who destroys people, ready to work. This is the opportunity to get back what I've lost.
Me and Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, have a bromance. Hell or behave friendship. But that's life. You become a man, have a conversation, and sort things out, and move on, and move forward.
He still wants the AJ fight.
Of course he does. That fight still pays out the best money in the heavyweight division. Belt or no belt. Belts or no belts.
Still the best money.
Ruiz has only fought twice since his loss to Anthony Joshua, defeating Chris Arreola, then Luis Ortiz. Since losing to Joshua in December of 2019, it is nearing 2 years since the victory over Luis Ortiz. Burritos and nachos have been helping win all of my fights and becoming champion of the world. So there's nothing wrong with that, he said. And that is exactly what I'm going to do on August 3rd. I'm going to win. I'm going to get this victory, and this victory will be for God. No matter how tall you are, how big you are, and how much muscle you have, it's all about what you have inside. And I have a big heart. I feel really good. I feel really sharp. We did all the hard work in the gym. Yes, I had a 2-year layoff. But that doesn't mean that I was outside of the gym. I was still training. I was still disciplined, even through my ups and downs. God was with me, and that's why we are going to win on Saturday night. I had it all, and I want it back. I was the unified heavyweight champion of the world, and then boom, it went away. I want it back, and I know exactly what I did wrong, and I know what I have to do to get it all back.
Beating Jarrell Miller would help.
They have a common enemy, Jarrell Miller and Andy Ruiz, and that's why the focus of their efforts still seems to be getting Anthony Joshua in the ring. They'll make no mistake. If a Joshua fight didn't pay out what it pays out, I hardly think these two would be working so hard to get a fight with him here today. It's all about the money at the end of the day.
Because what the hell does Jarrell Miller have to be angry at Anthony for? You're the one that tested positive, not once, but twice.
They don't really talk about him testing positive after the Anthony Joshua fiasco, after that debacle, that even after that, you got caught for the same thing.
Same shit.
Is the boxing community at large ready to forgive Jarrell Miller in spite of all of this? And believe it or not, I think that they are. In the time that he's come back from his anti-doping fiascos, there have been several other high-profile fiascos, like Conor Ben's, or Alicia Baumgartner's, Ryan Garcia's. Some smaller ones happening in between.
Hannah Gabriel's tested positive for a banned substance. Erica Cruz tested positive for a banned substance. Amir Khan. And this is all in the span of time in between the last time Jarrell Miller got caught. All this happened.
It paints a picture to where you don't even know if you should be upset. You don't even know if you should be mad at Jarrell Miller. Because if it's as widespread as it seems, it really isn't about who's doping. It's about who isn't.
Seems like everybody is.
He's fighting Andy Ruiz this weekend. Andy, to the eye, is a better boxer, mid-range to inside, throws shorter, sharper hooks, better combinations within close quarters than Jarrell Miller, who really just slaps with his punches. Since he doesn't have full range of motion due to his size,
At least historically, he hasn't.
hasn't had full range of motion to really drive his punches. Most of the time they're on punches and he slaps you with them, a whole lot of them within close quarters. He's a pressure guy.
A volume guy.
The big one, much bigger than Andy in terms of height, in terms of weight and build. He's a noticeably bigger man than Andy Ruiz, but being bigger doesn't make him better, a better boxer that is.
When Andy's active and he's fighting and he's doing what he's supposed to do, I happen to think he's a better boxer, a better combination puncher, mid-range to inside than Jarrell Miller, and it's noticeable. The problem is Andy hasn't fought in 2 years.
That's the caveat. That's the wild card. How is this guy gonna look on Saturday, having not fought in such a long time?
It's intriguing.
It's not a foregone conclusion that either man wins, as either man has something working for him. That even if you do feel that Andy is a better boxer and a stronger puncher mid-range to inside, it's been a long time since he punched anybody. And while Jarrell Miller is coming off a loss, he at least has seen action in the last 12 months.
Those rounds do more for Jarrell Miller than the fat ball of nothing that 2 years of inactivity has done for Andy.
I'm not against Anthony Joshua fighting the winner of this fight. I'm gonna go as far as saying that I could go for Joshua versus Miller just as much as I could go for Joshua versus Ruiz 3. There's a precedent to do either one of these two fights. And I know that some of you out there might be thinking to yourselves, just beating Andy Ruiz, that makes Jarrell Miller deserving of a Joshua fight.
Are you sure?
It's not so much that I think Jarrell Miller would deserve the fight. so much as I know there's money in it. And I think Eddie Hearn knows there's money in it too. You see him palling around with Jarrell Miller ahead of this weekend's card. You see that Eddie Hearn is ready to bury the hatchet.
He doesn't seem to hold a grudge. You know who does? Anthony Joshua. And that would make a fight between Jarrell and Anthony a grudge match. Unfinished business.
They have it. If you did this fight in the United Kingdom or in the United States, as either market is possible since Matchroom is owner at the helm of promotion, this would draw a crowd. It absolutely would.
Even with Jarrell Miller's sketchy history and his anti-doping fiascos, even with all of that,
Don't try to pretend you wouldn't watch it, that you would stand on principle and boycott a fight involving Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it, that you would watch it, and so would I. If they made it.
he's a talented trash talker, Jarrell Miller. He's got a charisma about him, a wit, and the fact that Anthony really doesn't like this guy, and I think underneath it all, Anthony would like to knock him out.
He would love to put him down, put his hands on him. I think you could sell it. With Andy, he has unfinished business with Andy. Andy won the first fight in dominant fashion. Anthony won the second fight in dominant fashion. For me and my money, there's more precedent for a Joshua versus Ruiz trilogy than there was for a Wilder versus Fury trilogy.
That didn't need a trilogy.
Because if the first fight ended in a draw, then the second fight was the tiebreaker. Thus, doing a third fight was just farce. It was overkill. This is different. Andy's won one, Anthony's won one, and the third fight would be the tiebreaker. There is a precedent to do it. And if Andy beats Jarrell Miller,
I wouldn't mind it.
I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Joshua in the ring with Andy Ruiz. Now, most are going to point to a Tyson Fury showdown, a Tyson Fury fight.
They want to see Anthony do that.
But put your thinking caps on, kids. Tyson Fury's supposed to be fighting Alexander Usyk for the second time later on this year. If he loses, and he loses again, and if he gets knocked out this time, is he going to be in any shape to go right into a Joshua fight? Is that the order you think it would happen in if he not only loses again, but gets knocked out this time?
I don't know.
Getting knocked out by Usyk would momentarily hurt the marquee value of a Joshua fight. It would. So in a situation where maybe that doesn't happen right away, maybe it doesn't, I wouldn't mind Joshua versus Ruiz 3 in the UK or Saudi.
Who wins?
Anthony Joshua. Are you kidding me? Anthony Joshua wins a trilogy. Anthony Joshua would win the third fight. I'll go as far as saying that I think Anthony would stop Andy in the third fight. He would knock him out.
He'd come full circle.
There would be elements of the second fight, the fight that he fought in the second fight, moving and jabbing to break Andy Ruiz down.
Tenderize him.
Bust him up and take him out. Because I think he's found a happy medium for his brawling and his boxing.
His brute force and his boxing brain.
But I could go for that fight. I could go for a Joshua versus Ruiz trilogy if Andy Ruiz takes care of business this weekend.
It's not a bad idea.
Joshua versus Ruiz, Joshua versus Miller, and for us to get there, Anthony Joshua's got to beat Daniel Dubois, which is another conversation entirely.
Set to go down next month.
It's a lot of moving parts, but like I said, I wouldn't mind those fights.